Good morning everyone. So through this video I'll try to explain to you unit 5, that is realism, naive and scientific. Now before we do that, let us briefly discuss the pattern of question that will come in your final examination. So this is your question pattern that you are expected to see in your final examination. You can see there will be 12 questions, each carrying 1 marks. Then there will be 12 questions, each carrying 2 marks. Then you will have 10 questions, each carrying 4 marks. And then you will have 4 questions, each carrying 6 marks. So there will be a total of 24 questions carrying 1 and 2 marks. That means that you have to be very thorough with the text. You have to read the text very thoroughly so that you can answer those 1 mark and 2 mark questions correctly. Now, the notes of this unit, Realism, Naive and Scientific, has already been sent to you. Today, we will try to discuss the text, the chapter, line by line through this video. So, now before we proceed, you will have to have an idea of what realism is, because then only you can go into the types of realism. I hope all of you remember what realism and idealism are, but just to recapitulate your memory, let me bring in the book of HS first year where you have studied realism and idealism. And what is realism? Realism is that theory of the nature of the object of knowledge, according to which the object of knowledge has extramental independent existence. Now we know that in a knowledge situation, there is an object of knowledge and there is a subject of knowledge. Subject is the knower or the person who knows, and the object is the known or the object that is known. Now, realism and idealism are theories about the object of knowledge. And what does realism say? Realism says that the object of knowledge has extra mental independent existence. That means that the object of knowledge is not in any way dependent on the knowing mind. The knower may know the object or he may not know the object, but it will still exist out there in the world. For example, suppose I say there is a tree outside my house. Now, as a realist would say, the tree that I see outside of my house has its own independent existence. It is not dependent on my seeing the tree or not seeing the tree. Its existence is extramental and it is independent. It is not dependent on the knower. Now, with this basic idea, we will now see the two types of realism, which are naive or popular realism and scientific realism or representationalism. Now, what is naive realism? Naive or popular realism is the simplest form of realism. As one of the types of realism, the central theme of it is that the object of knowledge is independent of the knower's mind. Just what we have discussed right now, that the object of knowledge has its own independent existence and it is in no way dependent on the knowing mind. The knower may know it or he may not know it, but the object will still exist out there in the world. So, the knower of the object knows something directly with all its qualities. The naive realist believes that an object is known by the knower with all its qualities. The nature of the known object is exactly similar to the way the knower knows it. So, suppose that I know this tree. So, when I say I know this tree, as a naive realist would say that I know this tree directly, exactly as it is with all its qualities. I know its color, I know its length, I know its size, I know all the other qualities, tactile, and all other qualities that the tree possesses. I know it directly as it is. There is nothing to intervene that functions as the mediator between the knower and the known object. So, this is a central theme of naive realism, that between the knower and the known object, there is no mediator. I, being the knower, I know the object directly, not through any idea or copy. The object is presented to me directly as it is. The object of knowledge is exactly reflected before us, as like as something is seen in front of a mirror. Just when you stand in front of a mirror and you see something, the thing is directly reflected to you. Say you stand in front of a mirror and you look at yourself. So when you see yourself directly. There are no changes, there are no mediums. And this is the same with naive realism. Now, Durand Drake is said to have used the term naive realism for the first time in his book Invitation to Philosophy, which was published in 1933. Now, as you can see, this is one of the possibilities of getting a question from here that you see. Now, you may be asked a question in the exam: who was the first one to use the term naive realism, and in which book? In that case, your answer would be Durand Drake. And what is the name of his book? It is Invitation to Philosophy, which was published in which year? 1933. So that is why reading the text is very important, because then you will be able to answer this 1 and 2 marks questions which will come directly from the text. Now, the main theme of naive realism, as we have seen, is that the object of knowledge, along with its qualities like the color, the taste, the smell, the extension, the length, etc., has its existence independent of the knowing mind. And why is it called naive realism? Because it is a common sense view about the external world in the most unphilosophical, or say non-philosophical manner. See, as a layman, not as a student of philosophy, when you ask someone, do you really believe that the tree exists and the tree is not just an idea in my mind? Anyone will say, yes, of course, the tree exists. No one will doubt that the tree does not exist and it is only an idea in my mind. So, that is why the thesis of naive realism is common sense realism, or it is the common sense view about the external world. Now, R.W. Sellers has regarded naive realism as popular realism and natural realism as well. So, there is another question. Say you get a question in the examination that who called naive realism as popular realism or natural realism? The answer would be R.W. Sellers. He says that we obtain knowledge as a result of the direct contact between the object and the senses. The nature of the external object is exactly the same in which our sense organs give information about us. So, whatever the information we get from our sense organs, that is exactly how the object out there is. Therefore, this form of realism is sometimes called direct realism. So, what are the other names of naive realism? It is popular realism, it is common sense realism, it is natural realism, and it is direct realism. So, naive realism believes in an external world constituted by matter. What does it believe? It believes that there is an external world out there which is independent of our knowing mind, and it constitutes of what? It constitutes of matter. Any proposition related to this material world brings forth the sense experience of the particulars. It is not that these particulars exist only because we experience them. They will not cease to exist irrespective of our perception of them. So, even if we don't perceive a particular object, say this very tree that we have taken as an example, it will still continue to exist. Its existence will not stop because we are not perceiving it. Why? Because it exists independently of our knowing mind. Whether we see it, whether we see or we don't see it, the tree will continue to exist in the external world. Therefore, the existence of the external world is independent of the knower's mind. So, after studying all about naive realism, these are some of the characteristics or features of naive or popular realism. Number one is what? The object of the knowledge is independent of the knower's mind. We have already seen that. Number two is what? There is an external world outside of our mind. We obtained the knowledge of this external world by what means? By perception. The nature of the external world is exactly the same as the way the perceptor perceives it. That means an object is that which it appears to be. So there is no distinction between the appearance of the object and the real object. There are philosophers like Kant, and later we will see even Locke to some extent. They believe that what we perceive is not the real object. The real object exists elsewhere, and the real object cannot be perceived. But a naive realist would say that there is no distinction between what appears to us or what we perceive and what the object is. Fourth point, the knowledge of the external world is possible because of the qualities of the particular objects. The qualities of the objects are the inherent properties of them. The diverse qualities of an object like color, taste, smell, extension, length, etc. are all independent of the knower's mind. So, the color of a thing, the smell of a thing, the length of a thing is not dependent on me. It exists in the object itself. It is the inherent quality of an object. And the relation between the knower and the known is a direct relation. There is nothing that intervenes our knowledge of the object. There is no medium. There is no mediator. I, as a knower, know the object directly. The object of our knowledge produces sensation in us. The sensation of an object is similar to everyone. Now, when I see the tree, there is a sensation that is produced through the nervous system in our mind, and that sensation is the medium through which I know the object, and that sensation is similar in everyone. Naive realism supports the correspondence theory of truth. Now, what is this correspondence theory of truth? The correspondence theory of truth says that truth consists in correspondence between fact the fact and the thing that we perceive. So, suppose if I have to justify this proposition that the fan is moving, and if in fact, in actual reality, the fan is moving, then that proposition that I am saying the fan is moving is true. This is the correspondence theory of truth. Now, naive realism supports this theory of truth. Now, what is the significance of naive realism? The significance of naive realism lies in the fact that it tries to give a philosophical basis to the common sense view regarding the nature of the external world. Now, this is the thing that naive realism says is a common sense view. We all agree that there is a external world, that the things of the external world really exist and they are not dependent on our mind for their existence, and that we know those things or the objects of the external world through direct perception, and all that is commonsensical view. You ask anyone in the street, any layman, and they will accept this view. But what naive realism as a philosophical doctrine is doing, it is giving a philosophical basis to this very layman commonsensical view. But no theory is except criticism, and so naive realism also has some criticisms, and we will look into these criticisms now. What is the first criticism? Naive realism gives overemphasis on perception. This overemphasis on perception is the repetition of the mistake committed by the Greek sophist. All the limitations of perceptual knowledge occur in this form of realism. So, as we have seen, naive realism has given a lot of importance on perception. Now, giving too much importance of perception has its own limitations. First of all, perception differs from person to person. This is the mistake that the Greek sophists are the philosophers, you can Google them up, you will see they held that perception is the only source of knowledge. And because of that, they suffered great epistemological criticisms. This is because when I say that perception is the only source of knowledge, there are some defects that creep up. Number one is that perceptions differ from person to person. Say, you are standing at a distance and your friend is standing near a tree. Now, the size of the tree will be much bigger to your friend than compared to you because you are standing at a distance. Now, if I say perception is the measure of all things, then whose truth claim are we going to accept? Your or your friend's? Because your friend will give a different idea of the tree and you will give a different idea of the tree. So, these are some of the defects that come up with perceptual knowledge, and naive realism, by giving too much importance to perception, accepts those defects. Now, naive realism cannot explain error, illusions, or hallucinations. For example, to see a snake in a rope or to experience refraction, etc., cannot be explained by naive realism. If I say perception is the only source of our knowing the external world, then suppose you mistake a rope for a snake. You see a rope and you think it's a snake. Now, how will you explain this? Because you have said perception is our source of knowing the external world. So, how will you explain this illusion? Now, as it depends on perceptual knowledge, the universalizability of knowledge is robbed by naive realism. Because you have said that knowledge is dependent on perception, you cannot universalize knowledge. I cannot give a general proposition saying that say all things are beautiful, because it is not possible to experience or to perceive all things of past, present and future. You can never do that. So all kinds of universalization and generalizations become impossible due to naive realism. Now, naive realism refuses to accept the subjective aspect of knowledge. But in the knowing process, both the subjective and the objective aspects have their own role. Now, it is rudimentary that in knowledge situation there is an object of knowledge and there is a subject of knowledge. Now, naive realism only focuses on the objective part of knowledge. The subjective part cannot be ignored if we are to give a proper account of knowledge. According to naive realism, the knowledge of the external world is wholly independent of the knower's mind, but that is not correct. The knowledge of the external world produces ideas or concepts in our mind. Similarly, we obtained knowledge from these ideas and concepts. So, we cannot say no to these ideas and concepts altogether. Thus, we can see that naive realism, though it claims to be common sense view of the external world, is not a good philosophical theory. From the point of view of philosophical knowledge, it is a very weak theory. So, with that, we conclude this video. In the next video, we will discuss about scientific realism. Thank you.